Hey guys, Sparks here with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video. What if there was actually another good Burst 2 Nikke? Today I'm reviewing Quency. She's the first Liberation unit I've unlocked, and I've tested her in a variety of situations for the last several days. We'll take a look at her kit, talk cubes, good squad mates, how she performs in high level PVE and PVP, and of course compare her to some other strong Burst 2 units. So Quency is an electric type Burst 2 support unit, and she uses submachine guns. Honestly, her design is one of the best in the game in my opinion. She's got all the right jiggles, and her hand restraints that turn into dual machine guns is just badass. Oh, by the way, if you're liking my videos, please subscribe. It would help me a lot trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber goal. Anyway, so her first skill activates after 60 normal attacks, and it duplicates a percentage of your highest HP ally. This goes off pretty quick because submachine guns fire very rapidly, and one magazine can hold 120 rounds, so you can activate this twice before reloading. This is important for staying alive, although unfortunately it does not work as well as I'd like. Her second skill triggers automatically every 8 seconds and lasts for 5 seconds, so you really only have 3 seconds of downtime. It affects the 2 units with the highest attack. This is a great skill that can significantly boost your damage. Her burst skill has a 20-second cooldown. This allows her to be your only burst 2 in the squad, and honestly, burst 2s with anything higher are just at a huge disadvantage. It also affects the 2 units with the highest attack and increases their HP by a percentage for 5 seconds and increases their critical damage for 10 seconds. Crit isn't that great in Nikke in general, but it does boost it by a pretty large percentage, so it could be worse. Good partners for Quency are units with high HP like Diesel or Emma to take full advantage of her first skill to help stay alive. Or in my case, my Modernia has really high HP just because has one of my highest limit breaks and my best gear, so she just has high HP. You also want to use 2 really high damage units, probably your burst 3 because she can increase their attack by a percentage. So the higher the base value, the more of an increase you'll get. More than 2 high damage units, of course, is generically good, but it isn't necessarily needed because she won't boost that 3rd unit anyway. So for me, I found Scarlet and Modernia were able to take great advantage of Quency. I'd recommend equipping her with the Bastion cube so she can get more rounds out with that high capacity mag before reloading, or the Assault cube to increase hit rate. Submachine guns can have low accuracy, but if you're using her with Modernia, you want to save that cube for her. So now let's take a look at some baseline data in the shooting range. The shooting range is not really a good way to test units, and doing a simple comparison only, it's a very poor way to see if a unit is good or not. But we can at least see how pure damage compares to some other Nikkes. So the first team here is Leader, Rupee, Modernia, Scarlet, and Privity. This has consistently been my best shooting range squad so far. So we'll go ahead and see how much damage they can do. And it was 52.5 million. So now we'll do the same squad with Dola instead of Rupee. A fairly significant drop off. So you can see we only did 47.9 million damage this time. Now keep in mind Dola even has 1 core up, whereas Rupee didn't even have any limit breaks. And both were at skills level 5. So kind of even more of an advantage to Rupee there. Now we'll try Quency. This won't be a perfect comparison because I only have her skills level 4 and her attraction level is 9, which is lower than the other ones, but we can see a pretty impressive result. She got the damage up to just over 50 million, even at a slight disadvantage from leveling. The last comparison I want to show you is Senti. She's a defender, so we probably can't expect big numbers in the shooting range. She's currently limit break 1, her skills are also at level 5. So we got the lowest score of only 47 million, but more on Senti later. Like I said, she's kind of at a disadvantage in the shooting range, but Quency did pretty well, all things considered. She got the second highest damage, and she has much, well not much, but slightly lower skills as well. So Quency is quite usable in high level simulation room. At level 179, I was able to get through level C5 just fine. Although there were a few times where we were getting dangerously low and I felt like Senti might have been even better. That said, I did get through it with Quency, and that is sort of a notoriously difficult part of the game. And this is one of the examples of why shooting range isn't a great test of your squad. I also beat Tribe Tower level 104, and then I also beat level 105 while still at 179, and I was under the recommended power rating, but Quency still worked quite well. Here you can see the stats of how on floor 105, Scarlet and Modernia got massive damage from the buffs from both Quency and Leader. Again, pairing her with two high attack units like this will work very well with her first skill and somewhat her burst as well. I was also able to push through stages of campaign, chapters 18, even though I was under the recommended power level by about 4,000 to 5,000. However, I did get to a point where I finally couldn't beat it, and then I switched to Senti and was able to push one battle further. I tried her on Special Interception, where you typically want something like 3 burst 3 shotgun units against Gravedigger. Actually, not just Special Interception in general, but I tried it against Gravedigger. So you want those 3 shotgun units, and then maybe someone like Scarlet if you don't have 3 shotgun units, and then either use Leader and Rupee or Pepper and Dola to do as much damage as possible. You want all-out DPS and decreasing the time for your burst gauge to fill. This is an example where Senti isn't actually that valuable for damage mitigation, so I used Quency in that burst 2 slot instead, and honestly, it didn't go well. But I think it's just because Gravedigger bugs out. I also tested her against Chatterbox, and unfortunately she struggled to stay alive there too. Senti is very good in that situation though. Now in Arena, I fought against a very strong team that was almost 7,000 points higher than me. She was my last unit to go down, but in a damage race like that, she just couldn't make up the difference. Going back to Senti, I was able to win that same match. Now, because her burst isn't all that important, I tried her in sort of an unconventional team with 2 burst 2 units, the other being Senti. So this way, the theory was that I could keep the survivability from Senti and get the damage boost from Quency. Unfortunately, it didn't go that well. Because I couldn't use one of my burst 1s, and I think the attack boost of Leader is just better in that situation. You may ask why not use Leader 2, but then I wouldn't be able to use Rapunzel, and she's almost essential in a PvP situation like that. So overall, Quency is a pretty good Nikke. I've had a lot of fun using her. She's definitely usable in a lot of high-level game modes, and might be in the top 3 or 4 burst 2 units. But if you have Rupee or Senti, then you'll probably still want to use them in most situations, but still, Quency is quite usable. And I have also heard that Guilty is quite strong, but I haven't gotten to test her yet. She's my next Liberation unit. So let me know what you think of Quency, or if you have any questions. I'm sure there are more team comps I haven't thought of, and I'd love to hear how she's working for you guys. I think she's a pretty strong unit with a great saucy design, but tell me what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.